Okay, Iowa used to be a swing state, but not anymore. Let's talk about it. As we can see here, it's going by over 12 points to Donald Trump in 2024. Excuse me, 13 points in 2024. And the state did not used to do that. There was a lot of kind of controversy around Iowa, a little bit because of the polls. For most of this race, Iowa was trending to the right. Trump had won it already twice in a row by comfortable margins. But then this Ann Seltzer poll came out here on November 2nd, right before Election Day, and claimed Harris was up by 3%, which kind of turned some betting markets and betting odds and just polls in general right upside down because Seltzer was known as the queen of polls and was very accurate. She specialized in her state and usually got her state correct. But this time, that was not the case, obviously. Really about 15 to 16 points off, even led to Seltzer deciding to basically retire from polling. But the bigger story is Iowa used to be a swing state, used to be a little bit of a bellwether state. So what really happened there? Let's start looking back at the last 7 elections here since 2000 and see what's happened in Iowa. As you can see here, it doesn't get much tighter than this, 0.3, 0.67. Then goes back up, spikes a good bit with Obama in 2008. Comfortable margin in 2012, but still you have a little bit of a back and forth. Goes to the right with Trump in 2016, again, back and forth. But then has been steady and has started to even increase. And once it goes over that 10% threshold, I think safely you're going to see it go the same way in 2028, unless something catastrophic happened, or Vance or Ramaswamy or DeSantis or Rubio, whoever's going to be the Republican nominee in 2028, unless they did something crazy wrong in late October of 2028. Like, I just don't see the state not staying red for a while. And it used to literally be a swing state. You would Google maps of, not Google Maps, but you would Google images and maps of swing states in 2012, 2004. You would see Iowa be a gray swing state. And now that is not the case when you go to fill out a map or anything like that. It's light pink red. It's even dark red. And now with this margin of 13.2, it's going to continue to be red. But let's try to understand. Let's try to look back at previous elections and see what made Iowa a swing state and then what has changed since to make it a really a Republican certainty. So if we look at the 2000 United States presidential election in Iowa, Gore won it by, again, a very slim margin. As you can see here, the map looks actually a little bit more blue than most maps we see. If you've seen any of my other videos, which I will link in the description, on states that are no longer swing states, usually most of our states we see have a lot of red counties because it seems to be that the urban counties and the highly populated counties go blue, and our more rural and less populated counties go red. And generally across the state, you're going to have more of those rural counties, right? But Iowa in general is kind of lowly populated there. But as we can see, kind of maybe 40%, 30% blue just looking at this here. But let's look at some counties. In 1996, full disclosure, let's look at it. Bill Clinton did win the state, a 3-way race there. He won the state both times, I believe. Let's look at that real quick. Yes, won it both times. So in 2000, Bush had some work to do to get it to be a little bit closer. So let's go ahead and look at some county results. And as you can see, very low populations in most counties in Iowa. But as we scroll down after looking through all these counties, this is a massive amount. I would love if someone checked me in the comments. I counted 48 when I went through this. I'm not going to count it right now. But 48 counties that flipped from D to R, and it still did not do enough for Republicans to be able to win the race. But it made it quite a bit closer and was a sign of things to come, really. So extremely interesting on that end. Anything going under, I would personally say probably 4 points. I think most people say 3 or 2 points is considered a swing state. This is definitely within that realm, definitely within that threshold. And as you can see, it took a lot to get this state to be competitive, to be super competitive like it was in 2000. If we fast forward to 2004, as we can see, Bush prevailed and was able to win the state by, again, a very slim margin, less than a point. And a little bit of a mixed bag here. Bush flipped 4 more counties, so 52 total. But then Kerry flipped 5 counties. So actually a net gain for Kerry. We can look here, Cedar, Green. Let's look at Louisa and Winnebago at the bottom of the list here. Winnebago, 5,900, very low population. I doubt that would move the needle. Let's look at Louisa. 4,000, not going to move the needle. Let's look at Green, 5,000. And I forget the last one. Let's look at the last one. Cedar. And that's only 9,694. So a little interesting there that Bush was able to win. He must have had just kind of some incumbency bias and was able to make up ground across a lot of other counties and kind of slim some margins and then build on some margins of the previous election. But still, this was very much a swing state, as you can see. That is kind of like the quintessential swing state characteristics there, seeing 4 counties flip from D to R and 5 counties flip from red to Democrat. That is kind of what you want to see in a swing state, right? That makes a lot of sense. What really happened, where I think Iowa gets interesting, takes a turn, goes back to being a swing state, but also a convincing victory, is 2008. You had Obama kind of dominate McCain in a state that he flipped by about 9 net points because he had to get that extra point from 04 that Iowa went to the right. And if we look at some of the results here and what Obama was able to do, on this count here, he flipped 21 counties. Very, 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 very impressive. The only thing is that I went through to the average on this. The average amount of total votes on the far right here was about 8,400 votes cast across those 21 counties. So, again, Iowa's not very populous with its amount, but it does mean something, and to flip 21 counties is definitely a super huge deal to build on margins like in Polk County. Did not flip it, but let's see if he built on some margins there. Let's go down to Polk. Got 56% in 08. Let's see what Kerry got. 51%. So building on margins and what looks to be the county that casts the most votes in Iowa. So that was a big part of Obama being able to kind of extend that lead, right, to be able to get it. He then wins the state again in 2012. A little bit less of a margin. Most states went that way. It still went for Obama in 2012 in the general election, but he lost votes pretty much across the board. Lost a couple states as well. And then in 2016, we see Trump beat Hillary. Let's look at that here. By 9.4%. So what exactly happened there? Remember, Polk County was at 56% with Obama. Drops back down to 51.74% with Trump. And the big story here is, by my count again, you could check me in the comments, about 32 counties here. Trump was able to swing back to the right. And again, not super populated counties, but it all adds up quickly in a state that only has 6-7 electoral votes most years. I mean, to flip 32 counties is quite a huge deal. And again, these add up quick. It's a small amount. And then also in Polk County to lose, let's see how many votes that is, 119,000 in 2016, 120,000. So he lost 1,000 votes only, but the percentage dipped quite a bit, 56.43% to 51.74%. So that is pretty major. If we go and just give a quick glimpse and a quick look at the 2000 election, this is kind of a crazy stat here. If you look in 2000, Democrats got 638,000 votes cast for them, and you fast forward to 2016, only gaining 15,000 votes. That's just not going to do it. You've only gained 15,000 votes, whereas conversely, the red side has gained 170,000 votes. So something has very much happened in Iowa where more people are voting. And that is probably the reason for this shift here. I don't want to completely blame Ann Seltzer because I think that this state is a little bit difficult to predict in 2016, as you can see here. Real Clear Politics, which I think is very good to look at, very reasonable. They aggregate and average all the polls. Had it at Trump +3 and ended up at Trump +9.5. And it's been very difficult to predict. As you can see, Seltzer had a mistake, 2016, Real Clear Politics did. When you talk about Iowa, you're talking about a state that's about 90% white. 80% white. And big industries there are manufacturing and farming, and it's very rural. And when you are starting to look at Trump's base, it is about manufacturing. One of the things that Trump ran on is manufacturing, bringing it back to the states. And I think that the people of Iowa who maybe didn't vote in 2012, 2008, 2004, those low propensity voters that were in manufacturing big and are farmers, have come out to vote for the Trump regime. As you can see here, some of these numbers with Obama in 2008, just massive. I think getting 51% of the white vote as a Democrat these days is shocking. Like if Kamala Harris would have got that, I think we'd all be shocked. It's a very white state. As you can see, 91% of the vote is white. Black is almost non-existent. Hispanic is pretty much non-existent. Iowa's a very low Hispanic population altogether. But it seems like it's a pretty evangelical crowd too in Iowa. A lot of people there are participating in religion, and we've talked about the impact religion can have in previous videos, like my video on why Vermont is so liberal or why Arkansas is so conservative, which I'll link below as well if you want to check out. We're seeing that more religious people tend to be to the right, and more atheist or agnostic or non-practicing people tend to be on the left. Iowa, again, has the advantages of the demographics to go to the right. But overall, I think Trump has kind of built this base that is very strong, and it's been built on those manufacturing jobs. It's been built on those farmers. And Iowa having that big base there, and you can see that the parties have kind of changed a little bit. Obama was probably more the populist candidate, and McCain or Romney was more establishment. Trump has definitely taken on a populist view. That's why you're hearing Democrats like Bernie Sanders say the left has abandoned the working class. I think he's probably talking about results you see in Iowa where it's 23 points different. Obama winning by 9.54% in 2008, and then you're losing the state by 13% in 2024. I mean, it's a huge swing the other way. And that could really be what Bernie's talking about in states like Iowa and the Midwest, kind of on that. I'm pretty sure Iowa's in the Rust Belt, kind of in that Rust Belt area where a lot of people are blue-collar workers and they used to vote Democrat, and maybe their union workers used to vote Democrat. It's just the pendulum is kind of swung. It's kind of swung. I think that really explains why the state is no longer a swing state, or really no longer in reach for Democrats, and you're not really seeing this back and forth anymore, or even these close races. I'm very interested to see what happens with Iowa in 2026 and in 2028, 2032, moving forward. We can see how parties will change their views and alignments. I think Iowa, to be able to start winning, has to probably take on more of that populist and get the blue-collar vote again. As you can see, in 2008, carried independence really well, did pretty well in religious people. As you can see right here, no religion, 68%. That checks out what I was just saying about typically more agnostic is to the left. Look at these incomes. I mean, low-income workers, people that are more blue-collar jobs, going to the left for Obama. College graduates being 50% for McCain. I mean, politics has really changed since then. College graduates are much more to the left now, and these some college or associate degree and high school graduates are moving more to the right. And as you can see, that is actually a pretty fair amount of the Iowa population there. So Democrats have to strategize getting that vote back the way Republicans have. It'd be interesting to see if that's been the Trump effect, and maybe if his successor, like a Tulsi Gabbard or J.D. Vance or whomever in 2028, maybe they won't be able to carry the momentum and get those low propensity voters like he did. And then you'll maybe see like Iowa only goes for 5 points or something to the right. But yeah, very interesting breakdown. Interesting talking about Iowa. It used to be a swing state. Did this video based on a comment I got. I love getting comments from you guys and making videos about them. I think it helps our channel community and just kind of having that back and forth. So please comment your thoughts on this, why you think it's not a swing state anymore, anything positive or negative, anything you think I missed. Love to hear from you guys. And as always, thank you for watching.